Well, good morning and welcome to Coffee with Colleen. My name is Colleen Hammond. I'm a former on-camera meteorologist for the Weather Channel, turned executive image consultant and personal brand strategist, coach, and mentor. It's a mouthful. If you want to zoom forward and get the content, go ahead and zoom forward 4.5 minutes because we'll be talking about sleep and how not getting enough sleep is a nightmare for your brain. So I'll be talking about hacks on what to do, hacks on different ways to get better sleep, because it's really not the number of hours. I mean, that helps, but it's the quality of sleep that we get. So I want to check a couple of settings here and see how we're doing on Facebook. Make sure that we appeared live like we were supposed to. There we are. Hey, good, it worked. Good morning, Joanne. And Teresa's here. Beth's here. Victoria's here. Victoria's always number one. What was like the one week that I was sick or something, I think was the only time. Hey, Jocelyn, how you doing? We haven't seen you in a while. Hey, girly girl. How's Teresa doing this morning? Got your coffee? I got my bulletproof coffee all whipped up and frothy, so excited about the day starting. Fun things today. Finishing up some projects. Got a couple of people I get to speak with today that I'm very happy about. Tammy, all right, girl. A prayerful morning to you as well, Mike. Do you prefer Mike, Mukesh? What would you rather me call you? So how is the beautiful family this morning? Hey, Brenda. Everybody have a great day yesterday. Did you get into any discussions? Any deep thoughts? Any conflict that arose? Were you able to use any of yesterday's content? I was. I don't know, you get online and you immediately go into conflict negotiation. It's like, seriously? And like I said yesterday, it's amazing to me that these people will say, well, would you say that to somebody's face? And anymore they do. It's amazing to me. Fresh farm eggs. I do miss my chickens, Teresa. We're at that time of year where we're looking at the hen house going, I haven't used it in a few years. When my dad was sick and having cancer, then I was taking care of him. And then I moved to Michigan to help my mom for a couple of years. And then I moved back here. And within 6 months, I had cancer, a heart attack. And so we really haven't had chickens out in our hen house in a while. So it's a little decrepit. Kind of, so we halfway have it torn down. So we're at the point now that, well, we'll just do a chicken tractor and get some fresh eggs back. I miss my fresh eggs desperately. So I'll talk about this in just a second, but you can start contributing now if you want to tell me how many hours of sleep you normally get. That will be the question of the day. Jocelyn says, all good in Alberta. Sister had 2 neurosurgeries. Wow. Wedding coming up for the second daughter. Busy time of getting things done. No kidding. Well, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. I've been thinking a lot about you, Jocelyn, so I'm glad to hear that things are going well. 2 surgeries for your sister. It's amazing. I met a gal when I was in Houston this past weekend, and she's from Ottawa. And we got talking about the healthcare system in Canada compared to the healthcare system in the United States. So she speaks all over the world, and she's an administrative assistant expert. So, but she was talking about, it's just something that's different because she is a runner and she blew her knee out and needed an MRI and had to wait. She goes, so I had my MRI in 6 months, and the rest of us sitting at the table is like, I could get in and get an MRI in 2 days, but it's just a difference of how you're used to having your system run, right? So it was a very interesting conversation, and I don't think anybody around the world is happy with their healthcare system. So there's always a flaw in some system somewhere. So, but that's okay. Wish I could give you some. Yeah, I do too, Teresa. That would be great. Hey, Kristen, how are you this morning? Good to see you here. 7 hours for Mukesh. All right. So that will be the question of the day that's coming up in just about 20 seconds. Is how many hours of sleep do you get at night? What do you consider a good night's sleep? What works for you? Because what works for you and what's a good night's sleep are sometimes mutually exclusive. Whoops. I forgot that does that. So anyway, that's going to be the question of the day. All right, let's get started. Let's have some fun today. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Colleen. I'm Colleen Hammond. I'm a former on-camera meteorologist at the Weather Channel, and now I'm an executive image consultant and a personal brand strategist. I help women look their best and feel their best every single solitary day of your life, because every outfit you pull out of your closet should make you look and feel like $1,000,000. And if it doesn't, come see me. Today's topic is sleep. We're in the middle of part 2 of a series of how to have more energy. And today we're going to talk about sleep. So the question of the day is, how many hours of sleep do you get per night? Are you a 4 hours? Do you survive on 4 hours? Do you survive on 6? Do you survive on 9? So that's the question of the day. Make a commitment. Let's see what's going on. If this is a topic that you think other people could benefit from, please share. Share the love. Sharing is caring. A lot of work and preparation goes into this, and it means a lot to me. We had over 25, last I checked, over 25 people shared yesterday's program. I'm very grateful because that says I'm in the right place, and it lets me know that, the time and energy that goes into preparing these shows every day is very well spent. I mean, really seriously, if one person shared, I would get a kick out of that, because I'm like, yay, one person got something out of this. Because I know in the Bible it says, feed my sheep. It doesn't say count them. So I tried to feed as much as possible. So if you feel that somebody could benefit from having more energy, then today's topic is worth sharing. So Rick says on Tuesday, after talking about sleep, the 8-year-old boy tutor sometimes likes to sing. He misheard lyrics. I love that. Sometimes stressed out song, but instead of wish we could turn back time to the good old days. Uh-oh, wait a minute. I got to click the see more button. Now he says, wish I could go back in time to the good old days when Mama said, don't go to sleep. But now we're all stressed out. And then this is our topic of the day. Isn't that great? Hey, Mary Therese, good morning. Jocelyn, hours of sleep. I feel best with a bedtime at 9:30, no later 10 than up at 6. So 7.5 to 8 hours. You're going to love today. Because it's going to tell you how wonderful you are. I like 7 hours, says Victoria, but lately getting about 6. 8 hours for Tammy. Oh, your little boy said, why aren't you watching, Miss Colleen? Super grateful for the healthcare we do. Yeah, but there are flaws, everything. So yeah, everybody's got a little bit different. We were talking in the pre-show show in the green room. We were talking about, forget what we were talking about. What were we talking about? And you commented on? I can't remember because healthcare. And I didn't get enough sleep last night. And I'm in the middle of catch up. Good morning, Kim. Good to see you here this morning. I know you're at work. So that is the question of the day. How many hours of sleep do you get? So let's talk about sleep, because a tired brain is a nightmare. I don't know, remember where I heard that, but I thought that was amazing. Ginger gets at least 8 hours of sleep. Brenda's working on 5.5. Oh, Sarah, drive. She's driving, so we have to focus on driving. How much? Yeah, with a newborn, says Mary Teresa, it's hard to. Well, you'll. I hope you're not depressed after today. But I'm going to give you at the end. I'm going to give you some suggestions, tips, teas, supplements, and chamomile tea is like the old-fashioned way. I've got something even better for you. So you're going to be very happy about this, because we're talking about quality sleep, deep sleep, and the ability to have effective sleep. So. Do you feel that you're getting enough sleep? Do you feel rested when you get up in the morning? Do you need an alarm, or do you wake up at pretty much the same time? Do you wake up without an alarm? And when you wake up, do you feel like, yes, ready to hit the day? Or is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to get out of bed? Kim says 7 hours is best for her. And since Sarah is listening and driving, yes, please prayers for Sarah that she has a safe trip. So the other thing we're going to be talking about as well is what excuses we use, what lies we tell ourselves as to why we're not getting enough sleep or why we don't need as much sleep. And hopefully at the end of today's program, you'll understand a little bit better about, as I do, because I was using a lot of things. Oh, I don't need that much sleep. But after I read all the studies, it's a little overwhelming. And we'll be talking also about better ways to facilitate a deeper and a better sleep. So I'll give you some sleep hacks toward the end that a lot of leading research has led to. And this one supplement in particular that's going to knock your socks off and put you to sleep. So I think the big reason that a lot of people say that they don't get enough sleep is that fear of missing out, that FOMO, fear of missing out. Kim hits the ground ready to go. Loretta gets a good 8 or 9 hours of sleep. God love you. That's amazing. 7 hours is best for Loretta. Oh no, 8 or 9 for Loretta. 7 hours best for Kim. And she still hits the ground ready to go. Victoria says, I look forward to mornings and even more so knowing your show is coming on. Outstanding, Victoria. Usually sleepy at night, says Rick. Don't even know what time it is when I go to sleep, but lately getting about 7 hours, which is more than usual. So studies have shown that when the more sleep we get, the more productive we are. So they did a bunch of studies with the Journal of Sleep Research that when you get, they took like people who got 9 hours of sleep. Now, I'm groggy if I get 9 hours of sleep, but their productivity levels were really, 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 really high and consistent. 8 hours of sleep, productivity levels were very close to 9 hours of sleep. It was at 7 hours of sleep at night that they showed that productivity levels at 7 hours of sleep consistently over time, 7 hours, 7 hours, 7 hours, 7 hours, accuracy, productivity, quickness, alertness goes down with 7 hours of sleep over time. And then at 6 hours, it was pretty much the same, but it was still kind of high. 8 and 9 hours were pretty much the same. 7 hours over time, it just slowly started to go down. And then 6 hours, a much reduced productivity level. And especially over a shorter amount of time, the productivity level went down. 5 hours, 4 hours, and less were like productivity levels super low, their ability to make decisions, their health, everything were just like it bottomed out quickly. So it looks like the sweet spot is 7 hours or more, preferably 8 hours. There's not much of a difference between 8 hours and 9 hours of sleep. So this is all temperaments, all different types of people, all different industries. It was a very well-researched study and across many different factors. And it's really consistent. Good morning, Amy. Dorothy Louise says she's always sleepy in the morning, never hit the ground running. And I'm going to talk too about a popular supplement that a lot of people take that could be damaging you. Because we're taking it for sleep and it's over the counter and it could be doing long-term damage and causing insomnia as opposed to helping you sleep. Ginger says she has rheumatoid arthritis, so she aches so much by 5:30 in the morning she can't sleep anymore and have to get up. Yeah, I got to get those joints moving, got to get them loosened up. I used to have rheumatoid arthritis and I, even had all the blood tests and had all the markers for it. It's gone now. So there's that again, there's that FOMO, that fear of missing out. But how much do you miss out on in life if you're groggy, if you have brain fog, if you're not alert, if you're feeling kind of clumsy, which we'll talk about too in just a minute? You'll produce more. You're more productive when you're rested. You perform at a higher level and you get work done in a shorter amount of time when you're well rested. Have you found that to be true in your own life? I know I have for me. So all these studies are really interesting. Now, here's the thing. When the study said 7 hours of sleep and then over the time productivity started to go down, they did another study, which the same research, the Journal of Sleep Research did, where they were wondering if people could catch up. Can you catch up on your sleep and get 3 hours, let's say, or 3 days rather, a recovery period of 3 days. So they took people and allowed them to sleep in, get as much sleep as they wanted, gave them nothing to do for 3 days, and then brought them back. Here's the interesting thing. People that got 6, 7, 8 hours, 9 hours of sleep regularly could catch up on their sleep. So after 3 days of total rest, I don't know why they did 3 days. Why didn't they do 2? Because that's a normal weekend. But anyway, the study was 3 days. After 3 days of extended rest and they came back to work, everybody's productivity levels were at the same rate. And then those 8, 9 hour people were just a little bit above and the 7 hour people were a little bit below, and again, 7 hours. So they showed that if you're getting regularly 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep, you can catch up over the weekend. Your brain can clear. We'll talk about health issues in just a second. But people who would only get below 6 hours of sleep, so who were regularly getting 3 to 5 hours of sleep on a regular basis during the week, and then they would catch up over 3 days. When they came back to work, their productivity levels were still low. So even 3 days worth of catch-up sleep didn't repair the damage that was done to the people who were only getting between 3 and 5 hours of sleep on a consistent basis. So the idea that I can catch up on the weekend is not true. We'll talk about banking in just a second, but to be able to catch up on sleep is not true. So if you're getting on a consistent basis 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep, and then you catch up on the weekends or you catch up over, on short amounts of time, you're probably doing okay. And you're not going to experience all the health problems that we're going to talk about in just a second, and productivity problems and focus problems and that type of thing. Joanne says, I have a friend who wrote a book about her healing from rheumatoid arthritis. Fantastic. Sherry gets 6 hours, and she shovels quicker in the barn, mucking out those stalls for the horses. I'm sure they appreciate that. Yeah, okay, good. And Natasha, thank you. Anything that ends in itis means inflammation. Okay, you guys are talking about arthritis. Okay, good. I saw a lot of comments. I want to make sure that I was addressing anything that you were talking about. So you're not getting as much done as you think. And when you feel stressed out, like, I have to get up and get this done, I'll catch up on my sleep later. Actually, what happens is if you got an extra hour's worth of sleep, you'll probably get it done in 4 hours less, because your brain will be rested, you'll be focused, you'll be more productive. So sleep, which is why I'm covering it first when we're talking about energy, sleep is number one. Sleep and rest need to be our number one priority, and I'll talk about naps in a minute. But let me talk about how lack of sleep is, what kind of damage that's really doing. First of all, a lack of sleep damages our decision-making ability. And make sure that you get a copy of the More Willpower book, because I talk about how to hack your brain to get, let me see, bit.ly/more willpower. I'm putting it in the notes. So there, if you don't have a copy of that, you need to pop in a copy of that right away and get yourself a free ebook. Just gives you a lot of ideas and things about how to make sure that you're making better decisions and how to treat your brain better. But when you're not sleeping, I don't know how good those hacks are going to work. They will, but when you're not getting enough sleep, you're not making as good decisions. And that means you're not making good decisions about when to go to bed either, especially if you're tired. So people who get less than 6 hours say they can adapt. But when they really do the studies, their mental alertness, their mental performance, much lower. So we fool ourselves, probably because we have lack of sleep and our brains aren't working very properly, that we fool ourselves into thinking that, yeah, we're adapting, we're doing better, but we really aren't. So also health issues. Adults who sleep less than 7 hours per night are 3 times more likely to catch a cold. 3 times more likely to get sick. And now we're just talking about the common cold. So if your body's immune system is that compromised that you just being exposed to the common cold virus is going to knock you out. Victoria says, I'm taking a nap today. I'll talk about naps in just a second. If you're 3 times more likely to get a common cold, what other diseases does that open your body up to? So fewer than 7 hours, 3 times more likely to catch the common cold. So then you're thinking, okay, well, I have to sleep less because I have to get more done. But how much productivity hours are you losing if you have to stay home for a couple of days to nurse an illness, the cold, the flu, something like that? So can you afford to be ill? Or should you get an extra hour of sleep, an extra hour in bed? Postmenopausal women who routinely sleep less than 6 hours a night are twice as likely to get aggressive breast cancer. Twice as likely. Less than 6 hours of sleep. And because when we sleep, our DNA repairs. When you get a good, deep REM sleep, that's when the brain is cleansed. That's when the DNA repair goes on. So when you don't sleep, you're disrupting your body's natural cleansing process. I've talked before about how your liver will cleanse itself between 2 and 4 a.m. So if you're waking up during that time, you know you need a good liver cleanse. So you want to make sure you're getting that sleep so your body can cleanse itself. Mental disorders. After just 24 hours of sleep deprivation, which is why they use it in torture, right? Healthy people exhibited the same symptoms as somebody who was schizophrenic. They showed reduced inhibitions, like they were totally wasted or blitzed or drunk. Their attention was gone. They had attention deficit. They were more sensitive to light, to color, to sound, to brightness, sense of smell. They lost track of time. They couldn't judge time properly. Lack of sleep can literally cause psychological problems and psychiatric dysfunctions. Lack of sleep. Good morning, Janet. Amy and I are watching from home. Going to attempt to watch our first live a little later. We got a good night's sleep last night. I slept in for 2 hours, first time in years. That's wonderful. Hey, Monica. Poor husband never gets enough sleep. He has to be up at work at 4:15. Family life makes it impossible for him to be bed before 8, so he gets about 6 hours at night. Brain fog, common colds. Yep. Haven't slept well in 20 years, says Beth. Babies. How many children? 11? So yeah, that'll do it. Adrenal fatigue is another thing. Yeah, because what happens is when we're tired, we start drinking a bunch of coffee, which pounds our adrenals, and then our adrenals just go and they shrivel, and then they just don't work no matter how much coffee you're pumping into your system. Your adrenal glands are like done. So yeah, taking care of those adrenal glands are super important. All right, so let's talk about sleep deprivation. I mentioned this yesterday, but sleep deprivation in children showing ADHD. So children, right now statistics are 11% of all children are being diagnosed with ADHD. But now that they're finding a lot of these children are being misdiagnosed because they're not getting enough sleep. So they show that just an extra 27 minutes, so basically half an hour, but the scientific study was 27 minutes, so all of us left-brainers are going to like the precision of the 27 minutes. Just as a little as 27 minutes of sleep a night, that a number of children that were previously diagnosed as ADHD no longer showed the symptoms. And even those children that were still exhibiting signs of ADHD controlled their moods better, were less exhausted, they were more focused, with as little as 30 minutes, a half an hour of sleep at night. Now, if you ever doubt the ability of children needing sleep and emotions, go to Six Flags, go to Cedar Point, go to, any of these amusement parks, or go to the park. At the end of the day, now this is something the children are having a lot of fun with. And I forget what comedian said this, but it's like they hit the fun barrier. And as soon as they go over the edge of the fun barrier, it's like, wow! Because they're tired. They can't control their emotions. They can't control their moods. They think they're happy, but they're crying and they're miserable and they're angry. And it's not just because they're leaving the park or they're leaving this fun activity. They hit the fun barrier. So, the world needs you, says Victoria. Thank you. Dorothy Louise says, as far as mental health is concerned, I know somebody with BPD, NPD. I'm not familiar with what that is. And she's sort of nocturnal. She stays up late at night and sleeps late. Wow. Ginger said, I have 2 friends who've had horrible sleep deprivation because of insomnia, ended up in the psych ward for weeks. Totally believe it. Totally believe it. Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. All right, so that's children and ADHD. So if you can get your children just to get a half an hour a night more, things will go better. They'll be able to control their moods better, their emotions better. You start working on some emotional intelligence, right? So, because even when they're having fun, they hit the fun barrier and they lose control. Sleep is also involved in how we learn. Preschoolers worked on a memory game, and then they were either forced to stay awake or allowed to stay awake, because you know how it is with children. They don't want to sleep. And then there were other children that took a 15-minute nap, right? And then they played the memory game again. The children who stayed awake forgot 15% of what they had learned before nap time. The children who had a nap got 100% right. Now, the long-term effects of this is they gave these same children the same test the following day. The children who had had a nap and scored 100%, the following day, they scored 100% again. The children who had not had a nap and scored 15% lower, they gave them the same test the next day, and their test scores were worse. So it's long-term, it's cumulative. It's not just that one day that they were just, they were foggy, they weren't focused. I really know the information, I just forgot. No, the next day after a good night's sleep, they got the test again and they scored just as bad, if not worse, than they did the previous day. So these are long-term effects. Sleep matters for our long-term memory and for adults as well, because researchers at Johns Hopkins found that the people that are getting enough sleep aren't getting Alzheimer's. And then they did further research in this. They've done all sorts of MRIs, they've done blood tests, they find that when you get deep sleep, it flushes the brain of toxins. So, and again, it has to be the REM sleep, it has to be good deep sleep. And it's flushing the brain of the toxins, and these specific toxins are associated with Alzheimer's. So by not getting enough sleep, over the long term, you're allowing these toxins to build up in your brain. So those of us with children who didn't sleep for years and years and years, or who still aren't sleeping, it's important for us to somehow be able to bank our sleep. I'll talk about banking in a minute, but bank our sleep, get the sleep when we can, which is why it's so important. I know now, wish I'd known then, that they always tell you when the baby sleeps, you sleep. What was I doing when the baby was sleeping? Cleaning, cooking, getting stuff done, returning phone calls. I can do it. I'm Superwoman. No, long-term problems, breast cancer. Hey, I wonder why, right? So sleep deprivation also leads to impaired judgment. They did a study in Sweden where people they gave them a fixed amount of money and sent them shopping. And when they did the same test with these same people, same amount of money, but they were sleep deprived and they bought more junk food. They got fatty foods. They bought unhealthy foods. They didn't spend their money wisely. Mary Therese says, my first cure for cranky children is a nap for me and them. Absolutely. So sleep needs to be like washing our hands. You blow your nose, you wash your hands. You go to the bathroom, you wash your hands. And sadly anymore, they have to hang signs in stores to say, if you work here, you have to wash your hands before you leave the restroom. So that's how sleep damages you. Let's talk about how sleep helps you. The growth hormone is secreted during deep sleep. So we say, oh, it's important for our children to have that growth hormone, but it's also what adults need, the growth hormone, to repair the damage in our bodies. So we're still secreting it as well while we sleep, not as the big level that children are as they're growing, but it's still what we use for repairing the damage in our bodies. Sherry says, I know when I'm up on full watch all night and can't really get any type of sleep during the day, the brain function is lacking. And it's not my age. Yeah, that's very true. And what Joanne was talking about, people who work overnight, you know what, this is in my notes, so I'll mention this here, but if people are working overnight, then it's good to have those yellow amber glasses, which are blue blockers. So you're wearing the glasses so you can still see, it's just, they're amber colored, but it blocks the blue light because it's super important to get proper light during the day. And then not, because when you leave and you go outside and it's all dark, it confuses your body. But if you're wearing the blue blockers, those amber glasses, that's very, very healthy and productive for sleep cycles. We'll talk about that, blue blockers, in just a second too. So, safety. Before we jump in here, let me just hop in. Beth had a 4-year gap between the last two babies, beginning to feel like myself again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you were sleeping better. Yeah, and when that youngest starts coming up, and the older the youngest one gets, you're getting more sleep, and it's just, you know, just get the kids helping. Well, your children are really good about helping too. So Fiona says, "Oh my gosh, so bummed, didn't get my reminder. Just found you. Catch the replay. This is really super important information, Fiona. People are, I'm sure, are sharing like crazy. All right, so safety issues. You're clumsier when you don't get enough sleep. People with less than 6 hours of sleep acted like they're drunk. So they've done studies on people who are legally drunk, which is 0.08 alcohol blood level, right? Then they kept people awake for 18 hours. Doesn't seem like a lot, right? Get up at 6 a.m., go to bed at midnight, 18 hours. They did tests on them and found out that they acted and behaved like they were drunk. Like the legally drunk 0.08 people. Keep them up awake for a full 24 hours. They were over the legal limit. So the blood alcohol level didn't increase. They just tested out with, giving them all the drunk tests. They tested out like they were a 0.1. Legally drunk, dropping things, shaking, knocking things over. Exactly. Those types of things. Just super clumsy. So if you're clumsy as an adult and you have a little bit better motor control, what about children? No wonder where they're running into things and, making bad decisions, right? Among children who have had 2 or more injuries in the past year, 91% of them got less than 9 hours of sleep at night. So we're talking about adult hours of sleep. So I thought it would be interesting to throw that study at you. Children with less than 9 hours of sleep, 91% of them were in the emergency room or having an accident, because not everybody rushes to the emergency room. But 91% of children who get less than 9 hours of sleep report 2 or more incidences of an accident during the year. That's scary. And here, let's appeal to your vanity. When you don't get enough sleep, you look older. I know that's true. The wrinkles just seem deeper when I wake up on 4 hours of sleep. I look in the mirror like, wow, I got a lot of extra work to do this morning. But truly, you do show the visible signs of aging when you're not getting enough sleep. So when you're sleep deprived, in short, you're clumsier, your attention span is less, your memory is less effective, decision making is impaired, reflexes are slower, you're at greater risk for disease, and you look older. Take your pick out of those 7. Which one's more important? So what are some strategies? Naps. Natasha, this has happened to me as well. Sherry, Lori helped me via Facebook. So grateful. Good. I'm not sure what that was in regard to. I missed it. Naps. A 90-minute nap cleanses the brain of toxins. Now, if I slept 90 minutes during the middle of the day, I'd be super groggy for the rest of the day. But there's something about, and NASA has done a lot of research on this too. There's a thing called a NASA nap. So don't freak out if you see your pilot taking a nap. The plane is flying on autopilot. It doesn't need any help going straight and level. And they can take these power naps during the day. A 90-minute nap also clears short-term memory storage to make room for new information. So if you really didn't get enough sleep during the night, maybe you need a 90-minute nap. But set your timer, because if it goes over 90 minutes allows you to get into a good deep REM cycle and cleanse the brain, clear that short memory cache, and make room for more information. A 20-minute power nap is for an energy boost. And the most effective thing to do, have a cup of tea or coffee or some sort of caffeine just before you take your 20-minute power nap, because it takes about 20 to 30 minutes for caffeine to take effect in your system. So a great app, and I talk about it all the time, is the Poise app. Let me put this in the comments. And I just got an email from them the other day. They're, wow, we're getting a lot of, we went and found your Facebook Live show. We're getting a lot of recommendations from your show. So I might be working on a sponsorship with Poise. But it's an amazing app. They have a nap. It's an amazing app that has a sleep and a nap portion in their app that you can use. And I use their nap app daily for a 20-minute nap. Have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or something like that, something with caffeine in it. Do your 20-minute nap. And after a while, like the first time I did it, it took me a while to kind of doze. But being able to relax and boom, I can drop out immediately. And then 20 minutes later, the music, kind of rises back up and wakes me up, and I'm zippy and ready to go for the day. Looking older, I look great. Oh, wait. Eyes are blurry. Says Beth, you do look great, girl. Getting on the program today, didn't notice this morning. Okay. It's a nap app. Yeah, it's a sleep app. So And then if you only need a quick boost, there was a German study, and NASA, when they talk about NASA naps, they talk about this as well. A German study said a micro nap as short as 6 minutes will help boost your memory. So 90 minutes for cleansing and health purposes, but anywhere from 6 to 20 minutes is great for memory and for giving you a boost of energy during the day. So that's naps. Now, here's the thing that seems to bother a lot of people, and I had to get over this, and this is built right into your handy dandy little phone: bedtime and wake time. A specific bedtime. So I set mine for 10, and at 9:30 my little phone goes, time to get ready for bed, because it knows I'm a woman. It takes me half an hour to get ready for bed. Rick says, I miss the ends of so many television shows in the middle of watching because I look and find out different shows on and realize you fell asleep. Yeah, it's your body's way of telling you, get to sleep. We do need regular sleep times. Can you sleep in on the weekends? Oh, you know what? I'll just sleep in on the weekends. You know what? The bigger variance in your sleep patterns by as little as 30 minutes. Like if you sleep an extra 2-3 hours, I'm going to sleep in an extra 2 hours. So Saturday and Sunday, you sleep in 2 hours more. Straight across the board, they're seeing that people who have more than a 30-minute variance in their go to bed and wake up times on a 7-day cycle have 6% greater body fat. That's a lot, 6%. So work on getting a set time to go to bed and to get up. And that's 7 days a week. You shouldn't have like a special, you can sleep in a little on the weekends, I guess, but that just means you're not getting enough sleep during the week. So you have to go to bed earlier. So getting that, I started to use the app. Okay, I have missed the ending. Yep, okay. So the greater your variance, the more body fat you have. So if you want less body fat, get a set bedtime and wake up time 7 days a week. So setting a regular bedtime. Clear your schedule. Make it a priority. And if you're like, you know what? I've been going to bed at 11. I'm going to start going to bed at 10. You're going to have a hard time. The studies have shown the best way to do it is 15-minute intervals. So I'm usually go to bed at 11. So now tonight go to bed at 10:45. And then maybe tomorrow night go to bed at 10:45. And then back it up another 15 minutes to 10:30. Then it's going to backfire if you try to go to bed too early, too fast. Just work in 15-minute chunks. Let me say, I started to use the sleep app on the iPad. In the first week, I noticed a difference. It's amazing. Ginger said, what about if you're at a party that goes late and you want to sleep in? Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, if something throws off your sleep patterns, you want to make sure that you catch up. And I'll talk about exactly, you know what, let's just talk about it now. Let's talk about banking your sleep. Let's say you know Saturday you're going to a party and you're going to be up late and then you want to get up and go to church Sunday morning. So knowing this ahead of time, you can bank sleep. Banking sleep ahead of time is more effective than catching up on sleep afterwards. I was fascinated by that. So if you know ahead of time that you're going to not get as much sleep Saturday night, make sure at least Friday night you get an extra couple of hours of sleep. But try to bank some, like get an extra hour Thursday, an extra hour Friday, or an extra couple of hours Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And you can bank sleep so that you have that reserve that your body recognizes. So Saturday night, you go to a party. Sunday morning, you get up, you go to church. Your body's like, I'm good, because you banked it. So your body does better if you prepare in advance and get extra sleep ahead of time than it does if you try to catch up. Isn't that fascinating? So stock your sleep up. Get more sleep than normal. Yeah, pretty amazing. All right, so what are some common excuses? And I asked this at the top of the show. What are the excuses that you use? I know the excuses I use for not getting enough sleep. So here are a couple. Work. Well, we've already shown how when you don't get enough sleep, you're clumsier. It takes you longer to do things. You're not as efficient. You don't make as good decisions. So if you're using, I gotta work, I got things to do, as a barrier to sleep, as an excuse for not sleeping more, that's actually the reason you need to sleep more, is because you need your brain sharp. You make better decisions when you're getting more sleep. You're not as clumsy. You're more efficient. when you get more sleep. So if you're saying, oh, I got so much to do, I have to get up, that's the reason you need to stay in bed. You know what? I'm going to stay in bed for an extra 30 minutes. I'm going to stay in bed for an extra half an hour and close your eyes and go to sleep. Now, for me, my brain starts racing. So I have to go to bed earlier because once I wake up, my brain is like out of the gates. It's off to the races. So once I wake up, now my husband, he can roll over and look at the clock and say, oh, I've got another 3 minutes and go back to sleep, like snoring sleep. Like the alarm's going to go off in 3 minutes. I look up and I think, oh, my alarm's going to go off in half an hour. I might as well get up now. So it's a different in temperament. So I have to go to bed earlier if I want to get sleep. Making time for your spouse in the evening is one reason I stay up later than I need to. Yeah, you might want to reschedule that. But if you found that that's the only thing that works, then you're going to have to work in power naps. Won't work in the middle of the afternoon. Maybe you get one of those 90-minute naps if you can in the middle of the afternoon. Here's the other thing. Like Rick was talking about, he falls asleep when he's watching television, that, we're binge watching something on Netflix. I got to watch this, right? So Victoria, you're like me. Yeah, I just get up. The problem with any type of electronics is we get these blue lights from the screen. So get that Flux app for, I think it's flux.io, I believe is the website. But I'll put that, if somebody knows it, because I recommend it all the time, you can put it in the notes for me, please. That would be great. But getting a blue blocker on your app, there's one that's the Flux app. I think it's good for all of them. Then you can get apps on your phone. I know it comes standard with the iPhone where you turn it on night mode. So it kind of yellows over and it blocks the blue light coming out, because that blue light is messing with your brain. That's like sunshine. So, and here's the other thing. Getting sunshine, especially between 10 and 2. First of all, you're getting good vitamin D3. So your body produces the D3 that you need to maintain health. But also, when that light's hitting the back of your eyeball and getting in through your retina and going into your brain, it tells your body what time it is, and then your body knows when to produce melatonin and all the sleep serotonins and all that kind of stuff that it needs at night. So if you want to sleep better at night, get some sunshine during the day, especially between the hours and 2. Most effective between 12 and 2, they say, but anytime you can get outside during the day and catch 15 minutes a rays, 15 to 20 minutes is optimal. You're doing yourself a favor. You'll sleep better. People who don't get outside and get normal sunshine during the day don't sleep as well at night and show higher signs of insomnia. You can also get those special light bulbs, because during the seasonal affective disorder is real. So during the winter time of the month, when there's not as much normal sunshine and it's not, the intensity levels are less, you can get special light bulbs that replicate that. And Victoria says even in sunny California, she doesn't get. Always like doing things in the house. 15 minutes. Get outside, breathe some fresh air, and get some sunshine. Hey, good morning, Christiane. Correct about the blue light. It will kill the melatonin in your brain. Yeah, it shuts down your ability to make the proper melatonin and serotonin in your brain. iPad automatically turns on 2 hours before you set, turns on or off 2 hours before you set bedtime. Yep, always feel better when we get the sun. Well, it's a combination of the melatonin production value and also the D3 that your body needs. So get those blue blockers and then unplug 2 hours before bedtime. I know that's a tough one, because what are we doing right up until the time we go into bed? We're on our computers, we're checking our email, we're watching our favorite show, we're on our phones. Used to be 1 hour. They would say make sure that you're disconnected, but now they're saying, the studies are saying 2 hours before you go to bed. All electronics, no more in your, even when you have a blue blocker, because the electronics are still emitting certain waves. So let me talk about, let's go ahead and talk about supplements at this point, because I want to give you the kicker. This is because I know a couple of people have to dive off. Magnesium. At night, don't take it in the morning. Magnesium is like a precursor and stimulates the ability for your body to produce its own melatonin, as well as GABA. And GABA, this is what I'm talking about, is GABA. And you can supplement GABA as well, and that'll help you sleep. So getting magnesium at night will help you sleep better because it's a precursor to all these other things. Valerian. If you can do some valerian root. Here, let me see. Let me go ahead and put this in here. So there's that's the magnesium I use. Valerian root. I actually make my own valerian from herbs, and I make my own capsules and stuff. But just using valerian. Yikes, 2 hours. I know, isn't that crazy? You're drooling in the corner. iPad automatically turns on the blue blocker. Okay, great, Amy. Yeah, that's great. Keurig says the thing I dislike about the apartment I live in now, no place to just go sit outside in the sunshine. That's a bummer. So valerian is also really good for relaxing. All right. So a lot of people talk about melatonin. I would rather you take a melatonin precursor, and here's why. So if you were in on my cancer webinar, for cancer, they show that taking 10 milligrams of melatonin is really effective against cancer. But what happens, there's problems with taking melatonin. The optimal dose of melatonin for sleep is between 0.3 milligrams and 1 milligram. And so now, but you walk into look at the shelf, 3 milligrams, 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams of melatonin. That's actually causing insomnia. So that's why they're like, oh, well, then I'm going to jump to 5 milligrams. I'm going to jump to 10 milligrams because I'm not sleeping as well as night. It's because melatonin is causing the insomnia because of how it's operating in your body. When you get too much, when it's naturally produced, it's far more effective, as all things are. So take some precursors. GABA. Magnesium is a precursor to GABA, which is a precursor to the serotonin and the melatonin. Here's an even better one. You've heard of chamomile tea? Let me give you this one. Yogi Kava tea. The Yogi Kava. Or you can take like Kava extract, and I'll give you the links to both of those. Yogi Kava tea. And you can get it at Walmart. It releases GABA and serotonin, which are precursors that are key to sleep and help you produce melatonin. Far more effective than chamomile tea. So stay close to bed, because chamomile tea kind of knocks me out. Kava, deepest sleep I've ever had. Supplements, lavender, cedarwood. Lavender is great for relaxing, reducing your heart rate. The cedarwood gives you a deeper sleep. And then this is the other one that I use, and this is also for stress. And if you're in I haven't released the stress program yet, is Relora. And Relora is great for reducing stress levels. Let me see what else. Relaxing, non-sedating, supports healthy cortisol levels. Okay, if you're already within normal range. So Relora is amazing as well because it's a stress reducer. So if you're not sleeping because of stress, then that's something that you can look into. But my number one recommendation for you would be Kava tea. And it's just the company Yogi puts it out. It's amazing. It's knock your socks off. Knock you right into bed. All right, so let's talk about comfort. You got to be comfortable. You got to like where you're sleeping. You got to like your bed. Get pretty sheets if that helps, right? Spend money on a mattress. How many of us have spent good money like on a desk chair? How many hours a day are you in your desk chair? How many hours are in your bed? Make sure you get a good mattress and a good pillow. Talk to a good chiropractor, a physical therapist, somebody that you trust that can help you get a new pillow. Because you know what? You may not even realize it. Your pillow may be a little musty. It may be, how old's your pillow? Maybe it's time to get a new pillow. So how do you sleep? Are you on your side sleeper, back sleeper, stomach sleeper? Finding out where you're most comfortable when you sleep, then talking to a professional about what's the best pillow for that particular position so that you have good neck support, good back support, and keep yourself in alignment. You're in there for 8-9 hours a night. It should be comfortable. It should be good. And it may be time to invest in a new mattress. Routines, rituals, and habits. People who go to sleep at the same time and get up at the same time don't have, I think they're 80% 30% less likely to have insomnia problems. So getting a good regular routines, rituals, and habits. And also when you have those, you put your day on autopilot. Take my autopilot class. When you put your day on autopilot, then you're not worried as much anymore because so much of your day is happening like it's supposed to happen that you don't have to worry about it because your day's on autopilot and things are happening like they're supposed to. Light, I talked about earlier, light's good for sleep. Get outside during the day. That's key to building your melatonin levels at night. Light at bedtime's bad for you. Use those blue blockers. You might have to use a sleep mask, especially if you live in the city. I live in the country. There's not a lot of light pollution here, but when there's a full moon, I can't sleep. I use a sleep mask. So the less amount of light that you can have. One of the worst lights to have is television. I know there's so many people that fall asleep in front of a television. So much damage done in your brain because of the types of rays that are emitted out of a television set and how they really mess with your brain. So you may be sleeping in front of a television, the sound may be not on, but all that flashing and what it goes through your eyelids. So it's one of the worst things in the world. You want to talk about psychiatric problems? Sleep in front of a television with the television on. Bad news. So get those lights or get those sleep blocking masks. That'll help you block out the light and sleep in a darker environment at night. Also, you may need to go to your circuit breaker and turn off the electricity in your bedroom. When I was really, really sick, I was so sensitive to even the electricity in the walls that I found that when I turned the electricity off in that part of the house, in my bedroom, I slept deeper, I slept better, and it's, health-wise. And so that's why TV remotes have a sleep button. That's true. I forgot about that. Light blocking curtains in your bedroom. Yeah. That's a great idea. Thanks for that, Dorothy Louise. So the other thing is a lot of people get stressed out about sleep. Relora is good for stress. But remember that waking up is a normal part of sleeping. Your body goes through deep cycles and then comes up and you move around, and then goes into a deep cycle and it comes up and you move around. So waking up during the night is a normal part of the sleep process. It's how your body cleanses and, it works through these cycles. Do you know it's normal for you to have these little mini wake-ups as many as 3 to 15 times an hour until you get into like that deep REM cycle? And you got a good 90-minute REM cycle, and you should be going through 4 of those, or three. I think a minimum of 3 a night of a deep REM cycle. So again, if you have a bathroom visit in the middle of the night, could be a prostate problem. You need to start looking at some saw palmetto, and then it could be don't drink as much water at night. Maybe you should cut off drinking after 6 p.m. or something, so that you don't have to get up in the middle of the night. And again, if you are waking up between 2 and 4 a.m., like awake. Not having to go to the bathroom or anything, but awake, that could mean you need a liver cleanse. The Cleveland Clinic has some online, it's a paid program, but it's a training program on sleep and that kind of stuff. So if you are suffering from true deep insomnia, you may want to look into that. So get that room as dark as possible. Block light sources, like Dorothy Louise says, even if you use the blockers on the windows, like curtains or pinning up fabric, whatever you need to do, using the eye masks, that type of thing. Cover LEDs with black electronic tape. A lot of bed lights or clocks that are next on the bedstand emit the wrong kind of light and could be keeping you awake. So covering those might be a good idea. Start winding down 2 hours before you go to bed. Less bright light. Get away from those electronics. Read a book. Guaranteed way to fall asleep and sleep deep. Read a book. Don't be checking email. Don't be playing those little games, Candy Crush or whatever on your phone, that type of thing. Dim your screens, but 2 hours to a minimum of an hour. Ditch all those screens. Start reading books, brush your teeth, clean the kitchen, do whatever you need to do, but stay away from electronics for 2 hours before you go to bed. And this may be obvious, but cut back in your caffeine. The older I get, the earlier in the day I have to stop with the caffeine. It used to be I couldn't have caffeine after like 4, then it was 3, and then now it's like right around 2 o'clock. If I have a cup of coffee or tea or anything after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's going to keep me up a little bit later. Janet says in our ICU, because we have big screen TVs in each patient room, we tell the patients to turn off the TVs at a reasonable hour because the flashing lights are disruptive to the babies who are healing and sleeping patterns. Wow. So there you have it from a professional. Ginger says there's a Carmelite convent next door. When I hear you talk about the comfortable mattresses, it makes me think of the sisters sleeping in straw on top of boards. Yeah, it is a huge penance, isn't it? What they do for us. That's amazing. I didn't even go that far, Ginger. Thank you for sharing that. Low magnesium causes you to urinate too often. Didn't realize that. But yeah, magnesium is really important, part of a precursor to all of these neurotransmitters and whatnot. Dorothy Louise also says that use the bathroom at night. Try to use a very dim night light, not turn on any lights, even in hotels. Yep. Great tips, says Christy Ann. So happy to catch you live. Yeah, you as well. Have a great day. So making sure that you get to bed by 11 o'clock at the latest, studies are showing, because your body produces a cortisol surge after 11 p.m., and that'll keep you awake. So if you're still up by 11, your body goes, oh, I need more energy. Whoosh. Good luck falling asleep after that. Don't exercise. Some people say they exercise, they fall asleep better. Baths will help. That warm water will help your body, because your body will warm up. Your body cools off at night. So you warm up in the bath, and then your body's like, oh, I have to cool off. Oh, look, it's also bedtime, so I'm going to really cool off. So warm, relaxing baths will help you fall asleep as well. So didn't know about low magnesium. Yeah, there you go, Natasha. I stay on the computer till 11 and then go to bed within 5 minutes. Whoa! You may fall asleep, but you experiment. Let me know on that, Kim, if you can get deeper sleep. Because people are getting to sleep, and they're sleeping their 7 hours, but it may not be deep enough to really do a good brain cleanse. And they're thinking this is a lot of the reason now that a lot of the up-and-coming octogenarians are having more and more and more and more problems with Alzheimer's because of electronics. And we're not getting deep enough sleep that we would otherwise. So hopefully these tips were helpful for you. What do we do? 56 minutes. It just can't. I'm going to have to start cutting all of these in half, or give you half the information, because these are going to run. Take care, Sherry. Love you. Prayers for all those in needs. Prayers for Lisa, of course. Yes, absolutely. Epsom salts, magnesium absorbs through the skin, helps us sleep. Yeah, and that also helps through pulling toxins out of your body too. One of the number one essential oil to pull toxins, clove. So if you want to pull toxins, especially across that blood-brain barrier, clove. Anyway, very helpful, says Ginger. Fantastic. So if you felt this was helpful, please share with others. And also, this is the time that we do our prayer requests. So make sure you get those prayer requests going. This will be also put up. I'm putting this as part of a series on YouTube. So I'll be downloading, editing out kind of like the beginning green room stuff, and putting this up on YouTube. So please feel free to share on YouTube when it's up, probably tonight, depending on when Andrew gets around to it. So I know he's got other things that he's working on in the membership area. So praise reports. It was on a private intention, so thank you for your prayers with that. Dorothy Louise says also tell people not to call her after 9 o'clock. It hurts your ability to get to bed on time. Good idea. I like that. And I will put all the links in the show notes as well, to the names of the products that were mentioned and where you can get them on Amazon. Liz asked for prayers for teaching this weekend to all those in need. Prayers for St. John's Parish in Alberta for Jocelyn. Hope you got the flight arrangement resolved. I didn't. I can't go. Natasha's going to go crazy until doctor told me to just try magnesium. Yeah, it's amazing that, and they say that women are craving magnesium during their cycles, during the month. And what's one of the things that has high levels of magnesium? Chocolate. So it may not be the chocolate you're craving the magnesium that's in the chocolate. Make sure you get your magnesium. So anyway, so prayers for the repose of the soul of my dear friend John Veneri, for his wife Susan and their children. Prayers for all those that are lucky enough and able to get to the funeral this week. I will not. That they have safe travels there and are able to support the family. I know it's going to be packed, I'm sure. Prayers for Mary, who passed away on Monday, Amy asks. for the salvation and protection of friends and family, safe delivery of grandbaby number 2, says Jocelyn. So prayer and praise reports for everybody. And make sure during the day that if you think of a prayer request, you come back and add it in, because we have some pretty amazing prayer warriors here in our family and have a lot of amazing praise reports to report as well. So I'm heading on out of here for the day. I appreciate you being here. And tomorrow we'll continue our topic of conversation, talking about how to increase your energy. So make sure you're here 9 o'clock Eastern, which is 2 o'clock in London and 11 p.m. in Sydney, Australia. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. Make it an amazing day. Love you. Thanks for being here. Bye.